know I mean business when I got the velour Todd Snyder on, okay? I was just thinking to myself, what are you thinking? What is going on, smart movers? Welcome back to the channel. If you're not already signed up, head over to StrizzyReport.com and be a part of the Smart Movers Club. Today, we're going to get into something real important. It's to make you aware, let you know when is it time to move out of that God-forsaken state that you're in. And I'm not talking about, oh, it's lovely there. I grew up there. I have family here. Listen, you got to go, okay? If it don't make sense, you got to go. So we're going to talk about those 3 signs. But before that, let's get into some numbers. In 2023, roughly, and this is the latest data, 24.2 million Americans moved within the country. They relocated. But of that 24 million, only 5 million moves for employment. I was one of the 5 million jumping around state to state. I moved 7 different states. So I know those states that are draining, okay? They drain you economically, they drain you spiritually, they drain you financially. And maybe you could find something better within the state. I started in Jersey. We all know where Jersey's taxes are and the laws and everything. I'm looking for freedom. I'm talking to the people that are looking for freedom now. This is no longer a conventional way of doing things. This is the unconventional freedom, globe trotting. Well, really, America trotting. Okay, America trotting. We got to go. We got to move out. We got to get better. Okay, so with that stat, with over half, 13 million move for better housing. Okay. 5 million move for job opportunities, like I said. And then you got internal migration really slowing down since 2023. That was the lowest number of moves. And I'm sure a big bulk of that came from COVID, right? Everyone getting out of the state. If they're remote working, why stay in a state that's just like suffocating you, right? So let's get into it. The 3 signs, guys, listen, I'm imploring you. Okay, leave some comments below. What states are you in? And tell me a little bit about what you're trying to do here. So what are you feeling in the state that you're in? You're not alone. There's a lot of people that's just right where you are right now. Just to let you know, there's been a record number of people relocating. Even though it's slowed down, people just don't got the money. Or people are scared, right? Fear is the biggest thing that'll make us stop anything. It inhibits growth. Fear inhibits everything. So you can't be afraid at all, right? But when do you know it's really, really time to go? We're going to get into it. I got my notes right there behind me. So we got high taxes, low quality of life, better opportunities elsewhere. Okay, but what are the signs? If the cost of living is up, but your quality of life is down, you're working more, but getting less. What does that mean? It's expensive. The state that you live is expensive. It may not be your property tax, which is probably the biggest indicator of if you need to leave or not, right? The property tax is extremely high. But the sales tax on top of that, as well as the income taxes on top of that, as well as the excise tax on top of that. And then guess what? You can't even go to a town hall meeting and voice your conscription. No one cares. Look what they just did in Maryland, okay? Under everyone's nose, okay? Taxes, housing, gas, groceries, big word, okay? And you feel stuck in survival mode. If you're working week over week, putting all this effort, energy, straight sweat, tears, broke bones, plantar fasciitis, you're putting all of that in your job, and then every week you're like looking at your check like, man, this really can't do anything. Like everything's going out. Taxes, housing, gas, groceries. You're in survival mode. Who said it was a great idea for us to always be in survival mode? Survival mode is a mechanism, and it's a really old way of doing living, right? When you lived in a hut, or you lived in a cave, you lived on the land in predating civilization, and you got mongrels, lions, tigers, elephants, mammoth woolies, coming at you. That's when you got to survive, right? But we're in modern civilization now, and we're still in survival mode. We're always stressed. We're always down. No wonder these pharmaceutical companies are thriving in this era, is because everyone got depression, everyone got anxiety, everyone got that feeling in the pit of their stomach. Everyone's worried about something. And they're worried about next week. They're not even worried about next year. They're worried about next week. We got to change that. It's not just inflation, guys, It's your environment also draining, squeezing, and torturing your wallet, bro. It's the environment as well. So, like, let's say you live in California, right? New York, Illinois, versus a place like Tennessee, Florida, Texas. You're going to pay taxes somehow. You're not going to have a tax-free, throwing the tea in the harbor up in Boston. No taxation without representation. Those type of Americans, out of here. Like, we don't got the guts anymore. You're going to pay something. You gotta pay to play. But if you're going to figure out how the game is set up, how the game is rigged against you, why not learn the rules and play it to win? If the game is there, play it to win. Why are we playing these games and not winning, right? So you live in California, New York, Illinois. It's high as hell, high cost of living, Illinois property taxes, what? All of these places, just crazy, right? And then you got places like Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. I put out a short one time, and I think it was like Mississippi's like the best place for if you make 60K or something. I did a little short, and this guy commented, yeah, but I gotta live in Mississippi. See, that's the problem with the mindset. Like, and that's that, I always say, we're gonna refer it to, like, that's the TikTok mindset. Like, it gotta be glamorous. It gotta be the big city. It gotta be a name brand town. It gotta be a popular place. It gotta be a poppin' place. That's the problem. Okay, you go ahead, get swozed, and don't got nothing, and stressed out, and on all these types of pills to just live, right? And fronting. We're fronting now that we're just surviving. Okay? It's an incorrect here. The switch is off somewhere. Why not? Why not take 10 years, live in Mississippi, stack bread, you're not feeling pressured, you got a decent job, you started a business, something. Why always be stressed about this big, heavy tax and cost of living, okay? All right, so if your state is making you hustle harder just to keep your head above water, it's not sustainable. Because of YouTube, right? The whole gig, side hustling, the whole thing. Work harder, work harder, work harder, work harder. Bust your ass, you're determined. You gotta have these 4 flips, these jobs. I get it, because when your kids gotta eat, you're gonna do what you need to do. And I never down that. But that has now become normal talk. You know what? Go drive Uber. Go drive Uber Eats, DoorDash, all of these things. And don't get me wrong. I started a small cargo van business, right? Hauling freight from state to state. That shit was tough, okay? Gas prices, all of that came into play. I was priced out the game. I didn't have a load for 3 days. Ended it right there. Everything was done. But I get, you know what? Let's start this. Let's try to make it happen. I get that. But when are you hustling so much that you're not enjoying life? You're still surviving. There's a balance, okay? All right. So you're feeling trapped. You're not free. Freedom is a huge word for me, and I think for smart movers everywhere. Like, I'd rather have more freedom and make less money. More freedom in a place and make less money. The one thing, the difference with, like, let's say I lived in Delaware, Philly, Jersey, right? And the only place I felt where people just went on about their business, they didn't really too much give a hell what you got going on. You don't mess with them, they don't mess with you. Everyone was cool. Everyone was focused on whatever they're doing. No one's in your business. Was Tennessee. In Jersey, first of all, you're looking at somebody's house, okay? I'm looking over in your house. That's number one. Number two, we know everything. Yo, this person down there, yeah, they got that. They did that. Oh, they're doing this with their house. They got this. Oh, they're going here. Oh, they got that new car. Oh, that, because you're so clustered in. Everybody knows, everybody cares, everybody's concerned. Down south, they could care less with what you got going on. You know, they could care less. I was taking a walk one day around my neighborhood in Tennessee. This guy was like, he was outside doing the lawn. He's like, oh, I ain't seen you in a while. I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to, I was, okay. No, nothing else. No, where were you? Or what you got going on? They don't give a hell. They don't give a damn. They got things to do. All right, so if you're feeling trapped, you're not free. Laws, regulations, and local politics are limiting your options. Maybe you can't build, grow, invest, or educate your kids the way you want. Your kids the way you want. Personal freedoms and small business freedoms are shrinking. How could you survive? Like, you got to think of yourself as a small business. I keep telling everyone, even when I was a manager in all my roles as management, I tell people, you are your own business. Maybe that's why I'm not good in corporate America. Giving people the game. You're your own business. I took out a whole, let me move on. Okay. All right. So freedom states. I created this map right here, and you could see that the freedom states are in green. If you're not in any of these states right now, I'm not, right? I'm planning to go to one of those green freedom states, but the goal is getting there. Okay, I have that. And that's why I'm working on a 12-month blueprint for folks that's thinking about relocating, just to get everything in order, to be ready to relocate and move from that shitty state to that better state, to that great state, whatever you need to do, to just gain that freedom, to gain that sense of peace, to gain more money so you could invest more, maybe to open up a business. It's always good if you're thinking like that, okay? And the other thing is, you've outgrown your environment. Sometimes you're bigger than your environment and you don't know. You're just there because, like I said, you were raised there, you were born there, you grew up there, you got friends there, your high school was there, all your buddies are there, your favorite bar in town is there, everyone knows your name, it's Cheers there. Like, maybe that's why you're a little afraid to leave, because you'd have to essentially, you think, to start over. It's starting better. Okay, think of it like that. You're starting better. You don't have to be stuck. Sometimes it's just time. A new chapter, less stress, better people, more space. Better people. I'm going to put that out there again. Better people. Okay? You want to live smarter, not just bigger. And that's why I think the guy said what he said about Mississippi. He doesn't find it extravagant. Doesn't find the hoopla, the magic with it. Mississippi just got rid of their income tax. Baby, Mississippi looking real magical right now, okay? Many of your goals, like owning income property, homesteading, or lowering taxes, are simply not achievable where you are. Just be honest. I put out a video on the shorts. I took it down because I was like, Stacey, you're running a business, not your own personal opinion club. But I am going to add these I always add some of these things in the thing, okay? All right, so I got some, I put out this, well, I created it. You could get it right now on StrizzyReport.com. If you are a member, it's free. It's a newsletter, but it's a report of the wealth migration map, and in it, that map that you just saw, I spoke about. There's 4 counties right now that are really booming for commercial and residential income. So if you want that, head over to StrizzyReport.com. Like I said, you don't have to be afraid. It's free. Jeez. But do that now, okay? I got the Todd Snyder on. I got velour on today. Nobody could tell me nothing. You hear me? All right. So where are smart movers going? They're going to Tennessee. They're going to Florida. They're going to South Dakota. They're going to Wyoming. They're going to, where else? They're going to Nevada. They're going to Iowa. Iowa's actually a sleeper. I just did a video on that. Go check it out. They're looking for no state income tax, business-friendly, community-driven, more freedom to build your future and stay out of the way. People want to be in the way. I'm trying to stay out of the way, okay? People want to have I'm trying to not to. Like I was just saying, what happened to the people that are unconventional, that when everyone's going right, they go left? When everyone's going right, they go left. What happened to those people? Like, I respect those people. I respect people with guts. What's going on? All right. So if you're feeling stuck, you're not crazy. That's what it is. That's the whole bottom line. You're not crazy. You're not alone either. You're pretty early, actually, because a lot of people don't do this. I love doing things a lot of people do. They don't look up these states and find out the values. They don't say, oh, this one got this. I could bring home more in here. Or I could open a business and put my LLC here instead of Delaware because everyone does Delaware or the state they live. No one does the research. So that puts you ahead of people. If you even watching this video, you're already miles ahead away from people, okay? So that's a great thing. The smart movers already know freedom is a lifestyle. Freedom is a lifestyle, and it starts where you live. Believe it or not, it starts where you live. So sign up for the Smart Movers Club at StrizzyReport.com and get weekly tips on where to move, how to invest, and how to live better. It's all I do. All I do is connect the dots here for folks. That's it. Okay? And don't forget, if you want that wealth migration map, that freedom states map, along with some couple strategies in there, please head over to StrizzyReport.com. Smart Movers Club, baby. And I'm starting a podcast probably today. So, look out for that. Peace.